This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
Hey, good morning, and thanks so much for joining us here on Wave Sunrise Extra on Wave Now. So many people waking up to thunder, lightning, lighting up the sky.
Yeah, be careful on the roads because we were talking about there's been some spin-out crashes.
Yeah, and situations like this, sometimes people tend to go a little bit faster than they should, and we're also watching, of course, a little bit of that heavy rain that could cause some minor flooding across parts of our region. Seeing those raindrops on the cameras there for those of you in Bullitt County, Spencer County, Oldham County, drier for those of you in Adair County. You've barely seen a drop of rain this morning and getting in on a gorgeous sunrise there. We're also keeping an eye on Indiana. Don't worry, I did not forget about you as you're starting to see some drier conditions and a bit more of that sunshine trying to get through the clouds in your area too. So we're watching a couple of isolated showers now in portions of Orange County and up in the parts of Lawrence County and Du Bois County. But the heavy rainfall is mainly for those of you further to the east, seeing some of that heavier rainfall still in Jennings and Jefferson County, into Carroll County too. In the metro, the heaviest rainfall is from Okolona to Fern Creek and over towards Middletown. Now keep in mind, we do have, of course, this flood advisory from Franklin County all the way into Bullitt County. It does clip the Middletown area and the J-Town area in Louisville, mainly because you've seen around 1/2 inch to 2 inches of rainfall so far today. And because of that, that could lead to some minor flooding, mainly in those lower lying areas and in those areas that don't really have the best of drainage. So we'll be watching that throughout the morning. And that may be part of the issue that we're seeing right now on 65 in Bullitt County. Also watching more of that rainfall from Bardstown down towards Magnolia. Also a couple of downpours near E-Town, and same thing for those of you in portions of Hart County. Now over the next 12 hours, we'll watch for rain chances gradually dropping off as that rain that we're dealing with this morning moves out, but still those isolated downpours will be possible through the afternoon and into this evening. Heavy rainfall, gusty winds possible with the strongest of those thunderstorms as the day continues. I'll talk a little bit more about the rain that we're going to see for the rest of the week in my full forecast.
Thank you, Tawana. Louisville officials continue to be concerned about violence in the city among young people.
Not only do they say guns are getting into the wrong hands of kids, we're seeing more end up as victims themselves. The most recent, a 17-year-old boy shot and killed. LMPD says this happened just after 5:30 last night on Poplar Level Court near Thomas Jefferson Middle School. Officers found the teen who had been shot in the torso. He was taken to the hospital where he died from his injuries. LMPD hasn't said if there's been an arrest yet in this case, but that shooting makes the 4th victim under the age of 18 in a little over 24 hours.
That includes a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old who police say were shot yesterday morning, and an 8-year-old shot the night before. This latest victim has more people calling for change. People say they want a safer Louisville. Community activists also stress the importance of keeping kids off the streets with productive hobbies and programs with representation from people who are like them. It is something Mayor Craig Greenberg agrees with, and he's asking parents to take advantage of free summer programs. And we heard from parents who say it matters how people parent their child.
Be on your kids, like, know their whereabouts. Make sure they're not bringing guns in your house. Like, check them like they're not grown. Like, you have to talk to them like they're kids. Don't treat them like they're grown. That's when they start acting like they're grown. Don't let them be your friend. They're your child, not your friend.
LMPD is still investigating the shootings, and if you have any information, you're asked to call them. You can leave an anonymous tip at 574-LMPD.
And take a look at your screen right now. LMPD needs help finding a thief who's been stealing from the California Community Center. These pictures were taken of the suspect. The center staff serves people in need of help on St. Catherine Street. Police hope you might recognize the logo of the hoodie and the black and purple Jordan shoes the suspect is wearing. If you recognize who this person is, you should call the department's anonymous tip line. Again, that number is 574-LMPD.
Indiana State Representative Wendy Dant-Chesser wants to make it safer for people to drive over the Clark Memorial Bridge.
And this afternoon, you can give your feedback on how to improve travel between Louisville and southern Indiana. Chesser is hosting a meeting at 3:30 inside Clarksville Town Hall. There's been 2 deadly motorcycle crashes on the bridge just within the past 3 weeks. KYTC reports more than 20,000 cars drive over the bridge every day. Chesser says representatives from Jeffersonville, Clarksville, and Louisville will be at the meeting.
Today, you can learn more about improvement proposals and alternative plans for US 42 in Jefferson County. The public will see early designs to upgrade safety and reduce traffic from the bridge over Harrods Creek to River Road. The meeting starts at 4. It's at the St. Francis in the Fields Episcopal Church on Wolf Pen Branch Road. You can ask questions, get project information, and also fill out comment sheets. Jefferson County health leaders are on high alert this morning after its first measles case in more than a decade. This now makes 13 cases across the Commonwealth.
Around the year 2000, measles was thought to be a controlled issue, with about 4 to 5 cases a year being recorded in the country. But that number has now jumped to more than 1,200 reported cases this year in the U.S. Doctors tell us the child from Jefferson County traveled internationally to a country where there's an ongoing measles outbreak. We're told 11 of the Kentucky patients were unvaccinated, and another only got 1 dose of the MMR vaccine. Doctors stress the importance of getting the vaccine because measles is highly contagious and can spread before you even start feeling symptoms.
That virus can hang in the air for up to 2 hours. So even after the person's left, that you can still be exposed to measles and you're not aware of it.
Doctors are also reminding people of the symptoms for measles. They include fever, cough, congestion, runny and red nose, and watery eyes. Several days after they start feeling symptoms, a rash usually starts on the head and it spreads down the body. You can find more information on where to get vaccinated with this story on wave3.com.
A new partnership between Kentucky State University and Jefferson Community and Technical College could bring more nurses to the state. The schools say they're teaming up to offer a new Bachelor of Science in nursing. Students will be enrolled at KSU and get services on Jefferson's downtown campus. They'll also have access to the college's nursing labs and other student services. The schools are also offering a new scholarship that will provide tuition-free bachelor's degree education to students eligible for the federal Pell Grant.
We're learning how the University of Louisville plans to implement a new law that bans diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at Kentucky colleges and universities. U of L's interim executive vice president, Katie Cardarelli, told state lawmakers the university is now redirecting $2 million in scholarship funds, which was previously for students based on their race or gender. We're also told no U of L employees were directly fired because of House Bill 4, but they say certain positions and programs have been restructured.
For example, the Commission on the Status of Women and the Commission on Diversity and Racial Equity were dissolved, and stakeholders will be invited to serve on the new Presidential Commission on Climate, Culture, and Well-Being. This new commission is dedicated to cultivating a safe, respectful, and inclusive university environment.
Cardarelli says U of L held a day-long guidance retreat to train dozens of university leaders on the new requirements under House Bill 4. Other colleges like the University of Kentucky, WKU, and EKU also updated their state lawmakers about changes they made because of the law.
Well, you can pretend like you're at the beach this weekend with the annual Nulu Summerfest.
The festival is in its 3rd year, and this year is a surf-inspired theme. Organizers hope you'll come out for a mix of fun in the sun, community, and celebration. And Wave News reporter Kirsten Foote joining us this morning with more on what we can expect. Kirsten?
Hey, Olivia Shannon, good morning to you guys. We decided to take our surf theme, lay theme out to the streets of Nulu, right where the Summerfest is going to be happening this Saturday. I'm rejoined by Lauren Hendricks. She's with the Nulu Business Association. Lauren, what can people look forward to this weekend?
Summer fun in the streets of Nulu.
We love it.
Yes, we will be here on the 800 block and the 700 block just behind us from noon to 7 p.m. this Saturday.
Awesome. And so what kind of things are we going to be having here?
We'll have games for adults, children, limbo contest, watermelon contest, both of which come with the grand prize of tickets to Bourbon and Beyond.
Amazing.
And then, of course, we'll have vendors in the street, bars, and all of our Nulu businesses, restaurants, bars, shops will be open, doing their own thing, their own promotions, and yeah, just a lot of free summer fun.
And so this is the 3rd year that this has been happening. It's the newest of all the, Nulu festivals and whatnot. How have you seen it grow over the last 3 years?
Yeah, we really have seen it grow. There's always so much to do in the summer in Louisville, and that's a great thing. And, we love closing down the street in Nulu and throwing a party for everyone. And, it's just fun to see it grow and see new people who live in Louisville, people just visiting, come down and just enjoy what Nulu has to offer, which truly is a little bit for everyone.
For sure. I got to cover it last year, and it was so much fun. It was my very first Summerfest, and it just was a good time. Everyone just wants to be there. It's very happy.
Yes. Yes, it is. It is. It's hard to not smile when you're down here.
Yeah. Okay, so remind me, where and when can people come out this Saturday? And do they need tickets or anything?
No, it's a completely free event. No tickets. Just park or bike or take a bus down here, and we'll kick things off at noon and wrap up at 7. Yeah, and it's this Saturday.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. So much to look forward to. I think I'm impartial to the limbo contest because, I mean, who doesn't want to do a limbo contest as an adult? I mean, that sounds amazing to me. Again, mark your calendars this Saturday, 12 to 7, right down here in Nulu. We'll be back with much more Wave at Sunrise Extra after this break.
LMPD is changing its story about what caused a panic inside the Kentucky Expo Center during the Run for the Roses basketball tournament. Groups of players and fans ran out of the building.
Now, the police department initially said the panic was caused by a ceiling tile that fell onto a metal chair and made a loud noise. But Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg said that is not true.
That was not accurate information, and so the chief is aware. I'm not quite sure why that information was put out as a fact, but that did not happen. That happened at another basketball tournament years ago that the tournament organizers were talking about when they'd experienced a similar situation before. So I'm not sure why that happened. I'm sorry that happened.
We did reach out to LMPD for comment, and they said in a statement, in part after the incident, LMPD attempted to understand how this occurred. Multiple people reported to LMPD that a ceiling tile had fallen, creating a loud noise that led to the panic that followed. We now know that the preliminary information was inaccurate. What we do know is an alarm went off inside the venue, and several people began running while some were yelling that it was an active shooter. End quote. LMPD said they're extremely grateful there was no active shooter incident, and they're proud of the officer response.
This morning, a man is in jail after a road rage shooting on Interstate 65. This happened Monday just after 5:30 p.m. A victim told the police he was trying to merge onto the Watterson Expressway through an exit off of I-65. However, a witness said a car cut the victim off before things escalated. The report says Derek Sanders and the victim started yelling and making obscene gestures at each other. The victim says Sanders then pulled out a handgun, pointed it at him, and shot his rear passenger side tire. fire. When LMPD arrived on scene, Sanders admitted to being involved in a road rage incident, but said he never shot at the victim. Police found a gun inside Sanders' car with a bullet missing. He's now facing several charges, including wanton endangerment and criminal mischief.
Indiana State Police reminding drivers to take it slow on the roads after a semi crashed into a Sellersburg church. It happened on US 150 near the Washington-Harrison County line. Troopers say no one was inside the Faith Victory Center church when the semi crashed into it. The crash is under investigation. ISP says it was raining at the time of the crash, and you could run into some rain this morning.
Yeah, and we've already seen a spin-out crash this morning. Tawana, people really have to be careful with that.
Yeah, please take it slow, and we're keeping an eye on some minor flooding concerns across parts of the region with the heavy rain that we have seen, but we're also getting in on a little bit more of this. The sun trying to get through those clouds in Starlight, Indiana, where it's a lot drier compared to where you started off the day. As of right now, a lot of these downpours are quickly pushing off towards the east, which is boding pretty well for most of our region, but we still have the flood advisory out for the central portions of Bullitt County through most of Spencer County, Shelby County, and all of Franklin County, and it also clips the very southeastern portions of the Louisville Metro. This goes until 9:30 a.m., but I have a feeling they may cancel it about an hour earlier than that because these storms are moving pretty quickly. In these locations, we've seen anywhere from ½ an inch to 2 inches of rainfall, so certainly some minor flooding, especially in lower lying areas, and also areas with not the greatest of drainage could be an issue for you this morning as you're heading out, because notice we are seeing these showers and thunderstorms anywhere from Carroll County down into Nelson County. Not as heavy as what we were dealing with earlier this morning, but certainly still can slow you down. So more of that heavy rainfall in portions of J-Town over towards Fern Creek, but the metro quickly starting to dry out. The rainfall, the more widespread rain now moving out of Jennings and Jefferson County in Indiana, but we're still watching a couple of those isolated downpours in portions of Washington and Orange County in Indiana. From Bardstown down through LaRue County and into Hart County, we're seeing moderate to heavy rainfall in your area. This is all part of this wave of energy making its way through wave country to start off the day. Once that's gone, we do see some drier and sunnier weather trying to come our way behind it. Right now, we're in the low to mid 70s to start off your Wednesday. We'll watch for more of these scattered showers and thunderstorms quickly exiting as we head over the next 2 hours especially, but a couple of isolated downpours will linger through the late morning and towards lunch. Once we head into later on this afternoon, we'll watch for temperatures climbing back into the upper 80s and low 90s for your highs. Keep in mind, I don't think the modeling is picking up on this as much as it should, but as temperatures warm up, there remains that potential for more of those isolated thunderstorms that can produce heavy rain and some gusty winds for this afternoon and into this evening. That's not really a widespread issue for later on today, but it still could be impactful with the heavy rain and strong wind gusts for those of you traveling around later on this afternoon and evening. Now for tonight, we'll dry out and keep a couple of clouds overhead, and we'll watch for temperatures returning to the 70s for lows. Because of those stronger wind gusts that we can see embedded in some of these isolated thunderstorms later on today, we do have a marginal risk of severe weather out for those of you anywhere from parts of Breckenridge, Hardin, and Marion counties northward. So it's really because of the wind. We'll also watch some of that heavy rainfall for the rest of the day on top of that ½ an inch to 2 inches of rain that we have seen. We could see another around 1/10 of an inch to ½ an inch of rainfall. It just depends on where we see more of those downpours. Then for tonight, returning to the 70s for your lows. Looking ahead to the next 10 days, we do have that front that's going to move into our region for tomorrow. That means by the time we reach tomorrow afternoon, some scattered showers and thunderstorms will be coming back our way. Then we'll see that rain chance around for Friday too, with the front stalling out across our area then. We'll keep that front around for the weekend. It's going to drift to the north, but it's still going to be nearby, and because of that, we'll watch for some of that heat showing up, highs near 90 for the weekend, with scattered showers and thunderstorms for your Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, and into Monday as well. So that means from today all the way through Monday, we could see an additional 2 to 3 inches of rainfall on top of what we've already seen. Now, the middle of next week will be about the heat as we climb into the mid to even upper 90s for highs for next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We'll have much more of Sunrise Extra on the other side of this break.
An alert you may have gotten on your phone yesterday, a warning about a missing 5-year-old boy from Hart County. Sadly, Kentucky State Police say Silas Cheerer was found dead after he wandered away from home.
Their release said Silas had autism and may have been in danger. Yesterday was the first time that type of warning was used. Now Kentucky emergency officials are sharing more about the Ian Alert. An Ian Alert lets the public know a child with autism or other disabilities is missing and could be in danger. It is named after Ian Sousis, who drowned in the Ohio River in 2022 after walking away from the children's home in northern Kentucky, which is a mental health care provider. His grandmother says Ian had a habit of walking away from safe places. She had hoped for a different result the first time the alert went out and hopes with more education it will make a difference.
I was just praying that, that the outcome would be different. Maybe if we get some more education to the public, that the next time it will be.
KSP says no foul play is suspected in Silas's death. They are still investigating. When an Ian Alert comes through, authorities say keep an eye out for children who may look lost. Also check nearby bodies of water, including pools. Many children with autism are drawn to water. After a year of improvement, fatal injuries to horses went up again during this year's spring meet at Churchill Downs, and that increase has track officials searching for answers.
7 horses died while racing at Churchill Downs, and that number is just from May and June of this year. Reviews and investigations have been launched into why the number went up over last year. Equine Medical Director William Farmer says the problem is not with the horses that reside and train at Churchill Downs. He attributes the increase to the horses that travel from track to track. Despite the spring increase in fatal injuries, though, the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Authority is expecting fewer horse deaths in the future.
Overall, we're seeing still the positive trend of keeping the numbers much lower than they were pre-HISA. But I do think we're going to see a slight uptick in the second quarter that I hope and expect will make up for in the third quarter.
Horses and racing return to Churchill Downs with the fall meet beginning in September. Thanks so much for joining us here on Wave Now. We'll have plenty more local content coming up at 7:30.
This Wave News Update is sponsored by Oxmoor Auto Group.
Good morning, I'm Shannon Kogan. Jefferson County health leaders are on high alert this morning after its first measles case in more than a decade. Doctors say the child traveled internationally to a country where there is an ongoing measles outbreak. This now makes 13 cases across the Commonwealth. 11 of the patients were unvaccinated and another only got 1 dose of the MMR vaccine. The CDC reports more than 1,200 cases across the country so far this year. Doctors say 2 doses of the MMR vaccine are more than 95% effective at stopping the spread of measles. Well, many of us waking up to some rain this morning, right, Tawana?
Right, and thankfully now that rain is starting to move out of our region. Looking at Starlight, Indiana, we have the clouds overhead, some sunshine trying to get through, but a lot drier in Starlight than what we saw earlier today. Some of these scattered showers now popping up for portions of Washington and Orange County in Indiana, but we're still dealing with the heaviest rainfall for those of you east of the metro. We have that flood advisory from portions of Bullitt County up into Franklin County that goes until 9:30 a.m. And by the way, maybe you're traveling towards Scott County, Kentucky. This is where we also have a flash flood warning in place for them. But thankfully, this heavy rain continues to march off towards the east, so we're going to be drying out as we head over the next hour and a half, and that is certainly good news. We are dealing with some heavier downpours from Bardstown over towards Hart County, and keeping an eye on this massive system that is off towards our north. It's going to bring more rain for later on this week. But for today, we're going to gradually dry out as we head into the afternoon. A couple of isolated downpours are going to be possible. The things that we're watching on the roads this morning: slow speeds for those of you traveling on Bardstown Road near the Snyder. Nothing new there. Slow because of a crash near Hillview in Bullitt County, and we're also watching another crash on 264 near Bells Lane.
Well, more than a week since the verdict in the Brooks, Houck, and Joseph Lawson trial, we're still learning more details about the disappearance of Crystal Rogers. All new details were revealed in now unsealed documents from those 2 murder trials, as the media received hundreds of pages yesterday. Wave News anchor Jose Zozaya shares some of those new developments.
The Commonwealth argues Brooks Houck not wanting to pay child support or share custody of his son with Crystal Rogers were just a few reasons behind his motive to murder her. These new documents reveal that prosecutors claim Houck also had an affair with the woman a month before Rogers disappeared. Prosecutors go on to say this went against Houck's prior testimony that he had not been unfaithful to Rogers during their relationship. The Commonwealth's filings also revealed more details about who they called unindicted co-conspirators in this case: Brooks' mother, Rosemary Houck, and his brother, former Bardstown police officer Nick Houck. Prosecutors claim that between June 16th and August 4th of 2015, Rosemary had no activity on her primary cell phone. Rogers was last seen July 3rd. Investigators believe Rosemary was using another phone to communicate during this time. Prosecutors go on to say they believe the conspiracy to kill Crystal started with Rosemary when she asked a witness who testified during this recent trial, Danny Singleton, if he knew someone who could get rid of Crystal. These unsealed documents say a witness told the grand jury Rosemary took pleasure in Crystal's disappearance and was even overheard saying Crystal should have disappeared long before she did, and now that she is gone, the document reads, the child will be raised right, meaning Brooks' child with Crystal, Eli, who was 2.5 when his mother disappeared. We have also learned from these records the Houck family brought Eli to his father's court proceedings, and a court officer told the judge a minor was in the courtroom. After Judge Sims learned Eli's connection to the case, he banned him from attending future court appearances, believing it was not in his best interest to hear testimony in the case concerning his father and mother. When it comes to Brooks' brother Nick, prosecutors are linking him to the conspiracy by claiming he can't provide a detailed timeline of his locations the night Crystal disappeared. The Commonwealth goes on to write this was the case days after she disappeared and during his grand jury testimony in 2023. Nick's ex-girlfriend testified she could not reach him for nearly 24 hours the day Crystal was last seen. Prosecutors also list Nick's attempt to get his brother to end his police interview and pushing his family to record their grand jury testimony as proof he was part of the conspiracy to kill Crystal.
So all of those details, plus all the details from the trial, can be found over on our website. We have all of the latest new information, and you can get that sent directly to your phone by downloading the Wave News app. We're also hearing from the ex-girlfriend of the man who police say killed 2 women and injured 3 other people, including a state trooper in Lexington. In the days leading up to the shooting, she says she filed an emergency protective order. Guy House's ex-girlfriend says their relationship started off fine. House moved in with her at the beginning of the year, but she says she later noticed a change in him and his mental health. On July 4th, shortly after the two split up, she says House stole guns and other things from her car. She says it was days later when she told police about his physical and emotional threats towards her.
When you communicate to someone that someone's made the threat of suicide by cop and to kill their children's mother, it shouldn't be dismissed. It should be taken serious.
She says she filed an EPO against House, but says it was never served. House was shot and killed by police after his rampage at that Lexington church on Sunday. New this morning, Congressman Morgan McGarvey says Kentucky's bourbon industry is about to take a hit due to new tariffs. McGarvey says the European Union is planning the retaliatory tariffs in response to President Trump. The president says he will place 30% tariffs on European Union goods starting August 1st. McGarvey says similar tariffs on bourbon in President Trump's first term led to a 20% decline in exports. Well, some economists warn that U.S. businesses will struggle to pay new tariffs and may start to pass on that cost to consumers. President Trump says the tariffs are boosting government revenue and encourage domestic manufacturing. Amy Kiley reports on the latest impact of the tariff plan.
This is exactly the sort of effect economists have been watching for from the tariffs.
President Donald Trump is doubling down on tariffs as American consumers face higher prices. He says he'll likely impose pharmaceutical duties at the end of the month and eventually could hike them to 200%. Trump also says he'll impose a 19% tariff on Indonesian goods soon.
I think it's a good deal for both parties, but we will have full access into Indonesia.
Meanwhile, the new Consumer Price Index report shows an increase in the inflation rate. It's up 0.3% between May and June and 2.7% year over year. Whether or not that's a lot depends on whom you ask.
If you look at inflation and if you look at pricing, it's gone up very little.
Maybe that seems like nothing to him because he's not going to the grocery store. But for people who are working hard, they are seeing the effects of this.
Most mainstream economists say tariffs are inflationary, though Trump disagrees. American businesses pay them on imports. Economists say switching to domestic producers could cost them time and money.
Most of these retailers have very, very small margins. So I think eventually the prices do come to the consumers.
A number of economists say if the U.S. keeps raising tariffs,
We could get inflation going over 3%, maybe as high as 4%.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Thousands of U.S. Department of Health and Human Services employees are now without a job due to federal cuts. Workers received an email yesterday announcing their positions were being eliminated by the close of business. The action was first communicated in April, but was then delayed due to a legal battle. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled the agency was allowed to continue with the cuts earlier this month. Analysts expect these layoffs will likely be fought in court, but the High Court's decision could work in the agency's favor. A new study has found there is no link between aluminum in vaccines and autism. Aluminum in childhood vaccines has been a target for vaccine skeptics who blame the ingredient for a myriad of health concerns. However, the study looked at more than 1 million people, and it found there was no link between aluminum in vaccines and an increased risk of 50 chronic conditions. That includes autoimmune diseases, allergies, and autism. Aluminum salts are often added to vaccines as a beacon for the immune system, pointing out the virus or bacteria that a vaccine aims to protect against. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We will be right back with more Sunrise Extra right after this. A Louisville woman's sister is now begging for justice after her sister was found dead in a central Kentucky hotel. Meanwhile, a man arrested in connection to her death has his day coming up in court. 29-year-old Richelle Dawson's body was found inside a Winchester hotel late last month. Wave News reporter Logan Perrone has more on this investigation and another case that it could be connected to.
I know she's met a monster. And I know she didn't want to die.
Kay Dawson says that her sister, Richelle, was found dead in Winchester at the Red Roof Inn on June 27th after her fiance reported her missing. Police later arrested 44-year-old Brian Epperson, the man who rented the hotel room that she was found in, on drug possession charges. Richelle's toxicology report reveals that meth was in her system. That's a strikingly similar thing to a separate overdose death in Powell County where Epperson is charged with murder. Police say in that case, the woman was found dead with more meth in her system than a typical overdose at an Airbnb that Epperson had rented. Winchester police said that the investigators believe Epperson may have been connected to at least one more victim, a woman who died of an overdose in Fayette County at a hotel in November of 2024. The department's investigation is still open. Epperson has not been formally charged with Richelle's murder, though her sister believes there will be accountability in her sister's death and police will find more victims. The chief says investigators are working with prosecuting attorneys to determine the most appropriate charges. Epperson is scheduled to appear in court on those charges, on the possession of meth charge this morning. Medical marijuana is one step closer now to being offered at Kentucky dispensaries. Governor Andy Beshear says the first inventory of medical cannabis grown in the state is now complete. It comes from Armory Kentucky LLC, a cultivator in Mayfield. The Graves County site began work on the product after the Kentucky Office of Medical Cannabis approved their facility inspection. Additional businesses that were awarded a license, including processors and testing labs, are expected to begin operations in the coming weeks.
I introduced
Senate Democrats are asking Republicans to pass a state-based universal health care act after recent cuts to health care passed under the budget bill. The proposal would give states access to federal funding to support universal health care. After the passing of the budget bill, millions will see changes in Medicaid and Medicare, something the president says will reduce federal spending. Massachusetts Senator Ed Markey is leading the effort. He says Democrats do believe it will be a challenge to get enough Republicans to support the bill and pass it into law. Americans' unpaid medical bills will remain on their credit reports after all. It all follows a federal judge blocking a Biden-era Consumer Financial Protection Bureau rule that would have removed the medical debt. The judge ruled that the rule exceeded the Bureau's authority under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. The rule would have removed nearly $50 billion in medical bills from credit reports of 15 million people and posted a person's credit score 20 points. The Consumer Data Industry Association, one of the plaintiffs in this case, applauded the court's action. The group said if the rule was left in place, lenders might not have had an accurate picture with which to make lending decisions. A new partnership in Louisville is helping some people beat the heat with portable air conditioning units. The Office of Social Services is purchasing and giving out 70 units. People who live in Metro Districts 1, 3, 15, and 21 will be able to apply to receive a free unit. Applicants must be 60 or older, disabled, or live in a household with children under the age of 12.
We legally can't make a landlord provide air conditioning and heating, but we need to make sure that we are checking in because we are the catch-all for the community, for the city of Louisville, and for the people.
To apply, you must call the Office for Social Services, and applications are open. You can find the number to call over on our website, wave3.com. Well, this crazy story out of Florida after 3 family members were struck by lightning on a pier. All 3 are now recovering in the hospital. Deja Mayfield talked with one of the victims about what happened.
He's the most wonderful, wonderful person in the world. And he takes care of everyone else before himself. So that's why I wanted him to have this trip.
Jamie Schuyler shared these pictures of her and her parents, Diane and Sparky, just minutes before they would be struck by lightning. Jamie says the day was supposed to be a day of relaxation.
My dad, he's the primary caregiver for my mom. She has dementia and mobility issues, so he doesn't really get a chance to get a break very often.
But their trip to the beach ended sooner than planned when they noticed a storm coming their way.
We looked around and saw some lightning in the distance. So we thought we better start getting back.
But as the family made their way back, Jamie says it was already too late.
And I all of a sudden felt like a ton of bricks hit me in the head. So I got struck, but then it kind of knocked me sideways. And then I looked over at my dad, and my dad was on the ground, and he was face first. It struck him in the head and came out his chest. So they had a big hole in his shirt where it came out. So from what I understand, I got 10% of it, and he got 90% of it.
People rushed here to this pier to help Jamie's dad before he was airlifted to a Gainesville hospital. Jamie's mother, who was also here in a wheelchair, spared from the strike because of the rubber on her wheels. Jamie's dad is still recovering tonight, and she says this was a big lesson learned.
When we first saw that lightning, that's when we should have started walking back. Even if you don't see lightning and you hear thunder and you're outside like that, then get indoors. Even after all this happened, he said, I don't care what happens after this. I'm thankful to be alive. That's what he keeps saying. I'm so thankful to be alive.
And after the strike, local leaders say they're working on expanding the county's lightning detection systems. And remember, if you do have the Wave Weather app, you can get lightning detection alerts sent directly to your phone. So that also will travel with you in case you go on a vacation to, say, Florida, and you can be aware of any lightning strikes in your area. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Well, here's something exciting. The Louisville Street Food Fest is returning to downtown Louisville this weekend. The Street Food Fest is taking place from noon to 8 on Saturday and Sunday at 4th Street Live. You can try a variety of foods from local businesses in the area. Some of those include chicken sliders, cheese fries in a cone, and those Dubai chocolate strawberry cups that have gained popularity on social media. They look delicious. Might be your perfect chance to try that out. General admission and VIP tickets are available right now on Eventbrite. In addition to the food, there will also be live music and craft cocktails. Food Truck Wednesday is back in downtown Louisville today. That's happening from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and that's on South 4th Street between Jefferson and Market Streets. You can check out the live music, 6 different food trucks. That includes Commonwealth Barbecue and Lorna's Really Good Lemonade. That will make you hungry already, but hey, maybe you can make some lunch plans. The TBT returns to Freedom Hall this weekend, and also returning is former guard Earl Clark, who's making his TBT debut for the Ville. Earl is now 37 years old. He's still playing ball in both Europe and in Ice Cube's Big Three basketball league. Earl said he's wanted to play for the Ville for a while, but couldn't make it work. But clearly things worked out this year, and now he's back in his old stomping grounds.
Oh man, it means everything. Just coming back in with the guys. Can't wait to Saturday, see the fans again. You know, we used to have Freedom Hall rocking a lot of nights, and I can't wait to relive it.
I think being a part of a bunch of organizations, he's realized how to bring groups together, and you can see that right away. And I'm a little jealous because Earl's in much better shape and can still hoop at 37, and I'm done at 35, so he's doing something right.
The Ville will take on Boston versus Cancer this Saturday at 12:30 in the TBT. Now, as for the UK alumni team, La Familia, they're also back in the TBT this year. Last year, the team made it all the way to the semifinals, and this year's squad features a few new faces, including Sean Woods as head coach and former UK guard Archie Goodwin.
I'm a far better shooter than I was. I'm a far better playmaker. I'm stronger. I'm just more mature. Things that come with being growing up and getting a little older and learning and figuring out things about basketball, about yourself, about life.
And La Familia will take on Stroh's squad this Friday at 9 in the TBT. Always so cool to see those familiar faces come back. The Louisville Bats hosting Military Appreciation Day this Sunday. Active military and veterans can receive free tickets to the game against St. Paul. You'll have to show a valid military ID at the box office to get free tickets for you and your immediate family members. First pitch is happening at 1:05. That's on Sunday. The Bats will take the field in special camouflage caps and their dazzling Stars and Stripes jerseys from the July 3rd celebration. Well, Racing Louisville is on their way to Brazil right now, but they're competing in the Women's Cup. But before hopping on that jet, the team took care of a little business here in Louisville. Racing signed star midfielder Taylor Flint to a 3-year extension, keeping her in town until 2028. General Manager Caitlin Flores-Milby says this signing shows the team is serious about competing.
We, across the league, have been looked at as a place that maybe people don't want to be, is what some say, which I think Taylor re-signing and our ability to keep exceptional talent here in Louisville speaks volume to what Bev and her staff have been able to do on the field.
So Racing currently sits in 7th place in the NWSL. If they can maintain that position, they would make the playoffs for the first time in franchise history. We are cheering for them and hope they have a great and safe time in Brazil. Thanks so much for joining us here on Wave Sunrise Extra. Hope you have a great Wednesday. Please stay weather aware. Download that Wave Weather app and be careful with all those showers that might pop up throughout the day. Hope you have a great one. We'll see you back here tomorrow.